Hi everybody, you're watching me, Boomy, and this is my channel, Boomy Reactions. So today, guys, I have another American history related video. Now this comes as not one request, but it comes from two different people. What are the odds? This must be a good video. So first of all, we have someone. So thank you, anonymous, someone. They say, hello, Boomy. I know your love for learning American history. Yes, yes, yes. So please check out The Fat Electrician. It's not a political one. I'm not a very political person, so good. But this is about a man that helped shape the country for the better. Fabulous. Okie dokie. And then the same video has been requested by Hillbilly Deek. Hi again. Thank you so much for your support. And he said, awesome video, lady. The more of Nick's, that's the Fat Electrician, videos that you watch, the more addicted you'll become. Ooh. So we have requests for Cassius Marcellus Clay, and a few others there that, don't worry, Deke, I'll be keeping them for later. So here we go. So this video that we are going to be watching today, we've got the most gangster politician ever. Don't normally associate those two, but I'm pretty sure there are some pretty badass politicians out there, especially given the time era. So this one is Cassius Marcellus Clay. Now, I've heard this name. I've heard the name, but admittedly, I don't know who this is. I don't know the story behind them. I'm not really sure what they're well known for. The name sounds familiar, but I couldn't tell you why. So I'm going in blind, guys. I've no idea what the history is behind this individual, but let's find out. And as ever, guys, if you're enjoying these reactions, please like and subscribe to the channel. And I thank you. So let's crack on with all of the chitter-chatter that I do. Oh my gosh! Oh, look, there's a baby. Who is this? I'm going to say, is this Nick's baby? Because they look a little bit like him in the eyes. Oh my gosh. Oh. I'm fawning over the baby. Let's just play the video.
It's a riveting story. It's really good. All right, we gotta go. I gotta tell the internet about the guy I named you after, okay? You gotta go hang out with mom now.
Oh, I see. Oh my gosh. So he named his son after this historical figure. So presumably, this is going to be a great man. Oh, that baby was so cute. What was that noise? It sounded like, does anyone remember the old internet dial-up computer noise? Sounded a little bit like that. Oh my gosh, how adorable. That's got my attention already.
Today we're talking about the most gangster politician in American history. Ladies and gentlemen, Cassius Marcellus Clay, aka the Lion of Whitehall. Whitehall being his family home that he grew up in Kentucky as the son of one of the richest slave owners in all of America. While going to college at Yale to become a lawyer, he would attend a speech from a famous abolitionist by the name of William Lloyd Garrison, and that speech would change the entire trajectory of Cassius Clay's life as well as American history. It is at that moment that Cassius Clay decided he was not only going to be quietly opposed to slavery, but that he was actively going to fight against it. He would be set down the path to become the most influential abolitionist of all time.
Oh God. Fabulous. Okay, so despite being brought up into a very wealthy family that I imagined owned quite a lot of slaves, this gentleman has attended university, and by listening to one of these speeches, completely changed the course of his life. And it was there and then that he decided he was going to be very, very anti-slavery. Wow, what a story. Okay.
If you don't know, at this point in time, there's basically two different camps you could fall into for being anti-slavery. You could be an abolitionist or an emancipationist. An emancipationist is somebody that wants to vote it out over time, over the next 5, 10, 20 years, versus an abolitionist, which is somebody that believes we need to end slavery right now, and they're willing to fight about it. And in the case of Cassius Clay, he was willing to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. You see, Cassius Clay wasn't just some nobody punk kid that went off to college and decided that he didn't like slavery. This was the son of one of the wealthiest slave owners in all of America. So for him to come out and voice anti-slavery views was a huge deal, and it pissed off a lot of people. So, being that this was the 1820s, what do you do when you're pissed off? You challenge somebody to a duel. So needless to say, the young Cassius Clay found himself partaking in an awful lot of duels, and he never ever lost. So, obviously he's pretty good at it, and what do you do when you find something you're pretty good at? You want to keep doing it, right? Right. So Cassius Clay starts challenging anyone and everyone to a duel that dares to oppose him. It became common knowledge in his community that Cassius Clay would be willing to fight the wind if it blew from the west and he wanted it to blow from the east. This man went on a dueling rampage, so much so that by the time he graduated college, he was considered to be the deadliest duelist in all of North America. This guy was putting slave owners in the dirt like he was Johnny Appleseed planting fucking trees. He became known as the deadliest abolitionist of all time. So he graduates from college, goes back home as a lawyer. Shortly after that, his father passes away and leaves everything to Cassius Clay. Cassius Clay immediately frees all of his father's slaves, costing himself $40,000, which is roughly $2 million today. And then he even gives some of the slaves land and money on top of it, absolutely infuriating the pro-slavery people. And
this happened. This man sounds absolutely amazing. So he is a abolitionist. Okay. And they want to end slavery right now. There's nothing good about it. End it right now. And then you've got is it the emancipationists? Have I said that right? That want to phase slavery out over the coming up years, which is, yes, okay, you're doing the right thing, but it's going to take a longer amount of time. It's slower. It's going to be more long term. Whereas the abolitionists are more, no, here and now, something needs to be done about it right now. Right. Okay. Yeah. And then, so Cassius Marcius Clay has returned home after studying law in university. His father's passed away and has inherited all of his father's land and the people considered slaves. So I can't accept the idea of owning other people. It's awful. And I know that's my 21st century brain, but it really, really is a hard thing to comprehend. Okay, so, and he's freed all of these slaves at an expense to himself, which cost him what, $40,000. Holy moly. What a man. Wow. How have I not heard of this character before? How have I not heard of this historical figure? Because they sound not only, they're a bit of a badass, aren't they, really? But you know, he's fighting for amazing things. How have I not heard of this historical figure before? It's crazy. Amazing.
Kentucky. So, what do you do when half the local population hates your guts? You run for public office, and that's exactly what Cassius Clay did. He served in the Kentucky State Legislature from 1835 to 1841, and then finally lost his re-election, to which the pro-slavery crowd breathed a huge sigh of relief because they finally defeated Cassius Clay, or so they thought. Clay immediately starts traveling the country, giving amazing anti-slavery speeches, winning over hearts and minds, and this absolutely infuriates the pro-slavery people because they don't know how to stop him. You can't legally stop a guy from talking to people that want to listen to him, and they can't legally kill Cassius Clay in a duel because he's the best duelist on earth. What do? You've got to illegally kill him. The problem with that is they can't find a hitman that's dumb enough to think that they can take out Cassius Clay, so they have to go to the one crevice of the planet where they can find somebody truly insane enough to think that they can do this job. And that man's name was Sam Brown, an assassin from New Orleans. 1834, Russell Cave, Kentucky. Cassius Clay's finishing up one of his world-famous speeches as he pulls out a burlap sack, reaches into the sack and pulls out a holy Bible and says, "For those of you that believe in the laws of God, I make to you this argument against slavery," sets the Bible on the table, reaches back in the sack, pulls out a copy of the U.S. Constitution, and says, "For those of you that believe in the laws of man, I present to you this argument against slavery," sets the Constitution down on the table, drops a burlap sack to the ground and says, "For those of you that believe in neither the laws of God or man, I make to you this argument against slavery," as he pulls out both of his pistols and sets them on the table, which I think we can all agree is gangster as fuck. And at this moment, Sam Brown comes up on stage and shoots Cassius Clay point blank in the chest. Luckily, Cassius Clay never leaves home without his trusted Bowie knife, which resides inside of a metal sheath. And that metal sheath would catch Sam Brown's bullet, saving Cassius Clay's life. At which point, Cassius Clay would draw his Bowie knife and charge Sam Brown. 6 of Sam Brown's friends in the audience tried to stop Cassius Clay. He would fight his way through all 6 of them, making his way to Sam Brown, promptly stabbing him in the chest, and then turning him into a Mr. Potato Head by cutting off his nose, lopping off his ear, and gouging out one of his eyes. Then the 6 men recovered and were able to peel Clay off of him. Not knowing what to do, knowing they couldn't stop Cassius Clay forever, they panicked, probably for fear that Cassius Clay was going to start shoving this guy's facial features up his ass next. They did the only thing they could come up with to get the two apart. They picked up their friend Sam Brown, threw him over a 7-foot-high stone wall. He fell down an embankment and into a creek bed to finally get Cassius Clay away from him. Somehow, Sam Brown survived, but not only was he lucky for that, he was also dumb as fuck because he then decided to take Cassius Clay to court because apparently after Cassius Clay stabbed him the first time, they were even on the whole assassination attempt thing.
No.
So Cassius Clay should go to prison for mayhem. So Cassius Clay calls upon his older cousin, one of the best lawyers on the planet that had never lost an open court with over 40 years of experience, Henry Clay. Henry Clay goes into court and his entire defense for his cousin is, and I quote, "Your Honor, this is just standard behavior for a Kentuckian." And the judge is just like, "You're innocent. Free to go. That's it. Best court case ever." Literally walks in and just goes,
"I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America."
So after Cassius Clay was found innocent, Henry Clay decides that he's going to run for president and Cassius is going to help him campaign. Cassius is going to tour the country giving speeches saying, hey, you know, vote for my cousin. Here's the rule with that. Henry Clay told him he's only allowed to tour the northern states because he's actually legitimately concerned that if he sends Cassius to the south, he's going to shoot so many fucking slave owners in duels that it could be considered voter fraud. So Henry Clay ends up losing the presidential election and Cassius moves on to his next life adventure, which is becoming an author and writing anti-slavery news articles.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Nick speaks so quickly. I'm trying to find a good time to pause. Oh my gosh. Considering the time era, this is a very forward-thinking individual. This is an intelligent man and a very violent one. Wow. Oh my gosh. It is like, it's his calling. This is his life mission, isn't it? Oh my, like, oh, what a guy. Like, this sounds amazing. Why is there not a Hollywood blockbuster made of Cassius Marcellus Clay? Why? This would be very entertaining. I hope they keep it historically accurate because why wouldn't you? Because there's so much drama in here already. How is this not like a blockbuster film? I would go and see this. I'm kind of annoyed that I haven't heard about this individual before now. Oh my, wow. Well, you know, I'm not condoning making a Mr. Potato Head out of Sam Brown. It's a bit gory, it's a bit grim. But, you know, when you're stupid enough to get away from that conflict and then take them to court, just quit while you're ahead. You know, you're alive at this point, Sam. Just walk away. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Problem with that was none of the newspapers were willing to publish him, so he says, fuck you, I'll start my own newspaper, The True American. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, starting an anti-slavery newspaper in fucking Kentucky in 1845 was not very popular, and his business would receive death threats pretty much every day, some of which were written in blood. So Cassius Clay, in true Cassius Clay fashion, says, fuck it, I guess we're gonna fight about it. He then proceeds to up-armor his entire business and his printing office. He covers the entire front of the office in a large iron sheet. He installs several cannons down corridors, stocks the entire thing with loaded guns, and rigs it to explode.
This is a man who is not afraid to fight very passionately and very aggressively for what he believes in. And it is very admirable. Like, I want to see what honors this man gets. There has to be something. I love his tenacity. and his bravery and his hard-facedness. Oh my gosh.
As a thing, he also doesn't expect his employees to fight to the death for him, so he installs an escape hatch and instructs them to escape if anything goes down, because he's going to fight the entire mob by himself. How's he going to do that? As soon as you walk in the only door to get into that printing office, you find yourself in a long, narrow corridor with iron on each side, just wide enough for a single man to get through. Cassius Clay is going to stand in that narrow corridor and fight the entire mob one man at a time. Literally the mentality of, if you have a problem, take a number, I'll kill you in a minute. This man recreated the entire battle of fucking Thermopylae with 300 Spartans, except he's gonna do it all by himself.
This is real. This building actually was a real place. Are there photos? I feel the cynic in me wants to see some kind of evidence. I need to see a photo of this to actually believe that it existed, because it sounds too good to be true. So that is a brilliant analogy as well. Basically, this is King Leonidas, and he's taken on the entire Persian army, but on his own, not with 300 soldiers. It's just on his own, because he's not expecting other people to lay down their lives for him. He's gonna take this on upon himself, and it's his battle. He's choosing it, and he's going. Oh. It sounds like a story, like, you know, those really overly exaggerated, like, Marvel heroes. Like, I need to see evidence of this. It's too hard to believe, because it's too good to be true. What a guy.
If you think fucking with John Wick's dog is a bad idea, the last thing you want to do is fuck with Cassius Clay's printing press, because this man is determined to defend the freedom of speech with the right to bear arms at any cost. Obviously, this escalates to Cassius Clay defeating an entire mob single-handedly. Right? Wrong. The mob, being full of, you know, super brave pro-slavery men that know they're doing the right thing, do the honorable brave thing, and wait till Cassius Clay is bedridden with typhoid fever, so they know he isn't going to show up. They show up to his business at night and burn the place to the ground because they're a bunch of fucking bitches. Now, disgusting. Cassius Clay recovers from typhoid fever. He reestablishes a newspaper in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is an anti-slavery stronghold. The only problem with that is, being an anti-slavery stronghold, there's not going to be any conflict, and that's fucking boring, so Cassius Clay moves on to another life adventure, volunteering in the Mexican-American War. While serving in the Mexican-American War, he would be a captain leading a group of Kentucky soldiers, and they would be captured pretty much immediately, and he would spend the duration of the entire war as a POW. While serving as a POW, some of the men under his command would escape, meaning that the Mexican military was then going to put the rest of his unit to death. Cassius Clay said, hey, don't kill my men, just kill me and my other fellow officers. We're the ones in charge. It's our fault that those men escaped. It's our responsibility. Please let the lower enlisted men go home. The Mexican military was so impressed by this that they decided to spare everyone, including Cassius Clay, and he would return home a war hero. Returning home from the war in 1848, he didn't really know what to do, so he starts giving his famous speeches again, this time leveraging his newfound title as a war hero. So
I think this man, I don't, do you know what? He must be the most fortunate person, like in history at this point, because he's dancing with death. He charges into death, or maybe he's having a little bit of an affair with death. It's, you know, it's a common concept. Death is literally following this guy, isn't it? Oh my gosh. And he's just, they were so impressed with his bravery. Oh, that's amazing. Guys, is any part of this story sugar-coated? And, you know, I've got a feeling some people are going to say, yeah, but, you know, the reality was this was the facts. If you do know, let me know in the comments, because this story just sounds too good to be true. And then again, I'm angry that I haven't heard it before, because he sounds like such an amazing person.
Obviously, it doesn't take long for him to piss everybody off. He faces yet another assassination attempt. This time, 6 brothers from a wealthy slave-owning family show up, the Turner brothers. They show up with clubs and knives and guns, and they beat the living shit out of Cassius Clay with the clubs. They stabbed him multiple times. Cassius Clay whips out his trusted Bowie knife, starts opening up these brothers like they're fucking Amazon packages, making his way to the lead brother and stabbing him an excessive amount of times. We don't know how many times, but we do know it was a lifetime supply. Killing the lead brother, ending the assassination attempt, Cassius Clay would fall to the ground, nearly dead, and this would be the closest anybody ever came to actually killing Cassius Clay. When he was asked about it later on in life, all he said was, "I felt the utmost indignation," which translates to, "I was fucking annoyed." This man almost died from an assassination attempt, and he has the same attitude towards it that I have towards fucking fruit flies, okay? This dude is so metal, he deserves his own spot on the periodic table of elements. Cassius Clay then makes a full recovery from his injuries, starts giving his speeches again. 1853, he donates a large chunk of his land to John Fee, who
This guy is hard as nails. I don't even think death phases him. I think he's more concerned about the death of, like, you know, the men he leads into battle, or it doesn't phase him, does it? Death is very much a friend, I would say, to Cassius, because he's just so familiar with it. It doesn't intimidate him. It doesn't scare him.
uses it to found Berea College, the first co-educational and multiracial college in the South ever. Fast forward to 1860, Cassius Clay is giving speeches in Illinois where he meets a politician by the name of Abraham Lincoln, and they get along great. Cassius Clay is then slotted to become Abraham Lincoln's vice president. However, he's a little bit too Cassius Clay to be an actual big-name politician like that, so they give the job to Hannibal Hamlin, and Cassius Clay becomes the ambassador to Russia. 1861 rolls around, the Civil War breaks out. Cassius Clay is in Russia. Cassius Clay not only convinces Russia to not side with the Confederates, but he convinces Russia to tell Great Britain and France that if they so much as recognize the Confederacy, Russia will go to war with them. And this was a humongous step that nobody talks about in the winning of the Civil War. And it is 100% because of Cassius Clay. Fast forward to 1862, Abraham Lincoln wants to appoint Clay a major general in the Union Army. Cassius Clay publicly refuses the President of the United States, saying that he's not going to do it until the President signs the Emancipation Proclamation freeing the slaves of the South. Cassius Clay is literally the man that bullied Abraham Lincoln into prematurely signing the Emancipation Proclamation before he wanted to. And nobody talks about it. Fast forward.
Why is this a fact, guys? I know there's many of you out there that are a lot more knowledgeable about this stuff than I am. Let me know in the comments if you know any wiser, if you know any better. I have never ever heard that. Even recently, you know, watching these videos, catching up on the American Civil War, I have not heard that, or even any indication of, you know, events like that happening, the involvement of Russia. I've only just started watching and hearing about the involvement of Britain and France later on in the Civil War. So why is this not talked about? Is this an actual thing that definitely happened? Is it a little bit of, you know, it's mentioned, but we don't know how true it is? Is it factual? Why would this not be talked about if this was fact? Help me out, guys. This is crazy. Did this happen?
Forward again to 1865, the Union wins the Great American Scrimmage, the slaves are freed. Cassius Clay has achieved his lifelong goal at the age of 55, bringing an end to slavery in the United States of America. He then goes back to Russia again to serve as ambassador until 1869, and while he is there, he helps to broker the purchase of Alaska. This man is probably the most influential person in American history that you've never heard of. After returning home from Russia, Cassius Clay would live out the rest of his days in Whitehall until the age of 80 years old, where he would be declared clinically insane, in hindsight most likely due to a severe amount of PTSD, as well as potentially dementia. He didn't die from it. He lived on for quite a bit longer. He just picked up a new hobby of fucking with the local sheriff because he was crazy now. Over the course of the next decade, Clay and the sheriff would have multiple run-ins that would be concluded when the sheriff and 7 deputies were repelled from Whitehall when Clay utilized his home defense cannon that he had at the top of his stairwell. At that point, the local sheriff would inform the local judge he will not be returning to Whitehall to tangle with Cassius Clay anymore unless the judge was willing to dispatch an entire company of the local militia to a...
He's bullying the sheriff at the age of what, 80? 80 plus? Even in his later years, this sounds so characteristic of Cassius Clay. It doesn't sound like senility to me. It just sounds like this is just normal Cassius Clay. This is him. Oh my gosh, what a guy.
Accommodate him. Then in 1900, two men would break into Whitehall, and Cassius Clay at the age of 89 would manage to kill both of them, one by gunshot and one, yet again, with his trusted Bowie knife. Then in 1903, at the age of 92, Cassius Clay would die of natural causes, or as they called it back then, general exhaustion, which is the most gangster way on the planet to go out. Literally just, I'm tired now, peace. And then he left.
I'm pretty tired. I think I'll go home now.
In conclusion, when it comes to famous historical household names, there's always another man or woman lurking behind the scenes in the shadows that's deemed too rough around the edges to be in the spotlight, yet they contribute just as much, if not more, to the movement. These men and women are willing to do horrific things for terrific reasons. And when it came to Abraham Lincoln and the abolition of slavery, that man's name was Cassius Marcellus Clay, the most gangster politician in American history. Thanks for watching the video. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Oh my gosh. All right, again, I know I've said it a few times. How have I not heard of this historical figure? Almost seems like an injustice, actually, that I've not heard of them. Why is he not more talked about? Why is this not a blockbuster film? Because this is definitely something, as long as it's historically accurate, this is something that I want to go and see. They wouldn't need to add any dramatization because, let's face it, the story in itself is just a poor. This is crazy. Even in his later years, I mean, that's a good age to get to, isn't it, guys? What, he lived to the age of 92 back then. And he survived typhoid. Was it? Like, nothing is going to take this guy down. He survived how many assassination attempts? Because I know Nick told us about the two major assassination attempts, but I imagine there's probably more, or been more. Hard as nails. Wow. Okay, so he has definitely earned the title of the baddest, the most gangster of all of the politicians. That's amazing. And oh, wow. I hope you enjoyed watching that video as much as I did, guys, because that is fantastic. That's fabulous. If you know any of the details, guys, if this is too good to be true, let me know in the comments, because this just sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like a very romanticized story. Like it can't be all that good, can it? Surely. And then to not hear about it. How does the world not know about this? So let me know in the comments if you know anything that I don't. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video with me. This has been a blast. Thank you so much. Thank you for this request as well. Oh my gosh, Hillbilly Deek. And thank you, someone anonymous, for requesting this. This has been fabulous. And I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.